Lamar Jackson has the talent to be the greatest player who ever played.
You think so?
I really believe it. Now, he needs commitment from the team that really understands the sophisticated passing game that wins Super Bowls today.
Welcome to another episode of The Winning Formula presented by Nasdaq. I am your host, Joel Kalani. We are here today with an extremely special guest. Very lucky to have him. Hall of Fame quarterback, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, Mr. Steve Young.
Joel, thank you. Very kind to be here.
Of course. Thank you so much. You doing good today?
I'm doing great.
Love that. Want to kind of jump right into the conversation around something you would know a lot about, which is the career after the career, right? After your playing career ends, the transition, you've done it seamlessly, but it's something that's top of mind for a lot of folks of when your playing career does come to an end, what do you transition to? How do you transition it? What the difficulty is emotionally of doing it officially when it's time. Can you speak a little bit about your perspective and what that journey was for you?
Joel, nobody does it seamlessly. Nobody. As you finish your professional career, you by definition are one of the best in the world at something. And then in your late, Tom Brady to 45, but mostly mid 30s, even sometimes 30, even 25, right? That dream is over. You're no longer the best at something in the world, but the next day you wake up and you're not even good at anything else. And that reality, who doesn't want to keep doing what they're great at? And I'm one of the best in the world at. Why? That's what I want to do. Now it's gone. Emotionally, you want to go backwards, right? You want to just keep. And I tell people, you need to look at it as a death. You need to mourn it as a death. I always say it's like falling off a cliff and you're a bag of bones, and now you got to figure out how to start walking again. And Roger Staubach, my hero, Dallas Cowboy quarterback, I asked him, because he's seamlessly transitioned. And he said, Steve, you just got to stand up and run. Start running. And I go, run, because the game will never leave you. You'll always be able to talk about it, but if you don't emotionally run away, you'll always hang around it. You'll never get free of it in a way. And so I think that transitions are hard. And I've actually thought a lot about your question, Joel, how to better serve the players today to prepare. My dad told me when I was a kid that you have a dream and a plan. Dream is 1% chance or less than 1% chance, and a plan is 80% chance. And so he used to say, what's your dream? My dream is to play in the NFL. What's your plan? My plan is to go to college and I'll go to law school like you and I'll be a lawyer. He goes, those are good dreams and plans. Hold them both. And when I went pro in the NFL, I said, Dad, it's all came together. And he goes, no, your average career is 3 years. What are you going to do the rest of your life? I ended up going to law school while I played, mostly because my dad kept bugging me about the plan. And here I had the other half of my life that's now 25 years in private equity. I only played in the NFL 18 years. Like, oh my gosh, I did have another part of my life and my dad's plan. So in other words, I think the transition, you can help yourself a lot in the planning of it, but also recognize that it's a death and you got to mourn it.
That's amazing insight. How early into your career, because it seems like your father kept you grounded, like tempering expectations, even in the beginning, is saying, listen, average career is not that long.
Right.
You have far more life to live after than during.
100%.
Even if you have a successful career. How early into your career did you actually start to think about channels, broadcasting, these things? Did it come later? Did it come in the middle?
I had to pour myself into what I was doing to be a decent player in the NFL and quarterback. I couldn't think of anything else. Like there was nothing else but just pouring myself in every day. And then it was over. But luckily I'd had this distant drum pounding about make sure that you have that advanced degree, make sure that you've gone to college, make sure you've graduated, make sure. And I didn't really honestly, even with all of that, I finished the last game, finished and retired. And then I thought, with this, whatever I had, what am I going to do? And I didn't really have a plan for what I was going to do. I just knew that I needed to have, an education and to whatever I was going to decide to do. So I was not thinking about and preparing like I've seen. Larry Fitzgerald is famous in my mind because he's a Hall of Fame player that really thought about while I was playing. There are people that thought about it while they were playing. I give them a lot of credit. I was not that guy. Although I was doing things to prepare, I was not actually
actioning.
Yeah,
I got you. You mentioned 25 years in private equity, HGCC. How did co-founding that, all the bones of that come together after your playing career, considering everything
Yeah.
you just mentioned?
It comes out of the locker room, actually.
Really?
We were, the 49ers, the Levi Stadium is really where we practice. The practice facility's been in Santa Clara. That's the heart
Yeah.
of Silicon Valley. And that was work for us. We drove to our facility every day in Santa Clara starting in 1987. That's when I started the 49ers in 1988. So then all through the 90s, when Silicon Valley was exploding, right? Technology and everything around it, it all exploded right like within 50 feet of our facility. So we started to do investing with Sand Hill Road venture firms and trading locker room access. Hey, bring your family, give us some deals, give us $50,000 in the deals you're doing. We'll split it up, take 10 each, and we started to do a lot of investing. And that's where the business part of it started. Then I started the business right at the end of my career where the guy had an algorithm that had a geographic boundary around an internet search back in 1997. That was like, the internet was not geographically located. It was a mess. And he had found a way to do it. We took it and built a business that took it to retailers. And I built a business with my long-term partner, Rich Lawson. Then we took that was backed by Bain Capital and Excel KKR. We sold it, and then we were invited into private equity kind of through building a business.
I see, yeah.
So that's how it happened. It was like a step function of investing, building a business, now invited into private equity by my old friend Bob Gay, who had been at Bain Capital for many years. I was kind of sponsored in. I cut the line, Joel. Let's be honest. I didn't go to consulting. I didn't go into banking. I didn't get an MBA. I got a law degree. So I came in differently. I was an odd duck into private equity, but HGGC is, funny, 25 years later, I've tried to recreate the reasons why we were great at the 49ers, the very things that made us uniquely great. I tried to take it to private equity. And I think that's why a lot of the success of HGGC has really come from why the 49ers were good.
You're very humble to say, you cut the line, et cetera, but you did have the pieces in place, going to school, getting your, you did.
I agree, Joel. I'm just being honest that I want to honor the years of sacrifice that people make to get into a very high functioning, very difficult business in private equity.
And part of it is not just getting in, it's maintaining, sustaining. That's relevant on the football field or...
When's this over? I got to get back to work so I can not get fired.
We won't keep you too long. But that's a key component. I would say even on the field, there's a lot of leadership elements and just things you learn through tribulations that can help translate into the business world.
For sure.
And, actually, I want to kind of pivot on that subject, just talk a little bit about the leaders of today in the NFL. The quarterbacks of today.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that's been spoken about before. I think you'd have a phenomenal perspective on this because you came, obviously traded from the Buccaneers. They drafted Vinny Testaverde. You went to the Niners. You sat behind Joe Montana for some years. I don't know that your trajectory, leading all the way up to being a Super Bowl MVP, is possible today. I don't know.
Probably not. I think the game's changed. But ironically, because I was kind of kicked out of Tampa because I was lefty and I was a scrambler. That was not prototype. The prototype was 6'6", big arm, stand in the pocket. And now the game has transitioned because of rule changes for safety that it's more wide open, there's more space, and that's been filled with the athletes that are playing quarterback, the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons. That's my tribe. Those are my guys. That's my game. And so in that way, despite the fact that I played so long ago, I was an oddity back 25 years ago. Today, I'd be like prototype. And so for me, the game today is very resonant. All the things that are happening, the things that quarterbacks have. The greatest challenge for quarterback today, and I saw Patrick Mahomes go through, I see Josh Allen going through, I see Lamar actually trying to transition. You have to be a sophisticated passer, yet you have to be able to run around and make all these incredible Superman plays. And Tom Brady and Peyton Manning didn't necessarily have to think about that every play. They had one spot, they were amazing, but the challenge was they didn't have to think about, well, should I start running? Where should I go? What amazing thing can I go do? And the idea the guys today have to gonna decide in the moment every time, should I go do my amazing stuff or should I hang in here and deliver the ball? And so I love the game today. It's my game, and I really wish I could play it.
Well, actually, to that point, I want to actually drill down on that just for a second because back then, you said it. It was probably you and Randall Cunningham that were doing that,
That's
right?
it.
On the Eagles.
That's it.
And, from that point, it adds a legitimate weaponry to your arsenal as an offense, does it not?
Well, I'm telling you, and Bill Walsh told me this. That's why he brought me in. He's like, Steve, if I can create you as a sophisticated passer and you can run around, that's the unstoppable space. And that's why I loved Bill for believing in me to know that that was possible. And that's where the game is today.
Today we see this quarterbacks getting drafted high, not working out at their initial organization, almost having renaissance in other teams. Baker Mayfield at Tampa Bay,
Yes.
Sam Darnold in Minnesota, right? Where they're changing their organizations. And
Well, Joel, let's be honest. There are not 32 great places for quarterbacks. There are more than in the old days. I would say 25 years ago, I would say under 10. I would want to play. I would want to go.
yeah,
And you were lucky if you got there. And the players that didn't ever get there were always very jealous because they never could get to a place that really understood the position.
yeah,
Today, I'd say there's maybe even almost 15 or 20. So there's a lot. There's still some that I wouldn't. If my son was available to go play quarterback and he could choose, I'd be
Take
like,
another year.
not there, not there, not there, not there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of places that quarterbacks end up. And to play great quarterback, you need a lot of help. And if you don't get the help, you actually can't show how great you are. Now, there are some guys that no matter how much help they get, they're not going to be great. That's okay. They find out as a pro, that's what happens. But there's a lot of people, Sam Darnold's one of the perfect examples, who just needs the amount of help that others get, like Josh Allen gets, that Patrick Mahomes gets. And once you get it, you get the help that you need, the full measure of who you are comes out, right?
yeah.
And that's
Totally.
super cool.
You obviously got to play with the great Jerry Rice. The importance of a weapon like that. Sam Darnold now.
You
obviously-
think?
Well, Sam Darnold now has Justin Jefferson, Baker Mayfield had
you
Mike
imagine?
Evans and Chris Godwin, but until they
Right.
got hurt. Like, how impactful is it to just have a competent, reliable weapon like that on your offense, or offensive coordinator that wants to play to your skills? Because like you said, you could have someone like Bryce Young who got a shot at it.
Joel, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
if you can't, I always say the difference between college football and pro football. College football, every receiver's open. Pro football, no one's open. That's how the best way I can explain it.
That's a great way.
And so a college player goes to the pros and says, where's all the open receivers? So with that in mind, you need talented people who can make things open, who can create it, and you need people who protect you. Playing quarterback is really the team orientation. It's the hardest job in sports, but you can't even think about playing it without a lot of help. And so we just have to be honest about it, so that we can say, well, why is that guy struggling there? He's terrible. He doesn't have the help. And it's not necessarily about him. It's about the team.
Yeah.
And when you get that help, you can be Super Bowl champion. You can be all the things that quarterbacks can be, but they got to have lots of help. And we have to be honest. It's like, oh, it's about me. Well, yeah, it's about you with about 30 other guys. You know what I mean?
We have a segment called Crunch Time,
I'm ready.
and we ask some fan-submitted questions.
I haven't been in crunch time for some time. I'm excited about
I think
this.
you'll do great. Lighter questions. We'll start first. It's top of mind because of what you just mentioned. What position would you say would be the hardest to play, in your opinion, outside of quarterback?
Quarterback is hard because you have not only the job of, ciphering through the truth of every play, and you have the ball in your hands and all the accountability. It's that you have to gather your teammates every week, even if you win or lose. You have to have them go fight every week. So there's a lot of this emotional stuff. So that's the complexity of quarterbacking. In the same way that the middle linebacker has in defense, or whoever is the captain of the defense. Sometimes it's a safety. Those are the jobs any job that you have, it's complicated on the field and it's complicated in the locker room, right? It's complicated week to week. And so those are the jobs that take real athletes, emotional athletes, and the best quarterbacks are the ones that are great in post-game in a loss than they are in a big win, right? It's like handling the locker room, handling the complexities of the human beings, and then the complexity of the job. So I think, like Fred Warner comes to mind at the 49ers. He's the guy that's the best middle linebacker in the game, which is, think about what you had the job, how you have to react, and then he gathers everybody every week. So it's like an extra. So it's the captaincy that makes the job that much harder.
Yeah, the emotional aspect of it, of like weathering, the resilience part, which we're big on at Nasdaq, the resilience that you need week to week, regardless of the results. Lost by a field goal, missed a field goal.
Leadership, and that's where the leadership comes out. And so it's not just your job. It's your job plus getting everybody else ready to go play. And football is unique because you have to ask human beings to go ram into each other. it's not normal. It's not intuitive, it's not rational. And so to get people to do it, you actually have to gather emotionally them every week, more so than any other game because of it. And I think that's why that makes it so hard, because it's hard to gather people to go ram into someone else. Like, I'm tired, I don't want to
Especially week 10, week 12.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's why the art of the great Tom Brady or the great Peyton Manning or all the great quarterbacks ever played, there's the job, and then what made them actually great was the stuff that happened the other 6 days. To gather people, to get them ready to go fight again. That's art.
Love that. That's such a wonderful answer. You've just mentioned some great names. In your own mind, the top 3 in no order, whether it's favorite or greatest.
Oh, this is my game, right? So this is my tribe. So Patrick Mahomes is the king right now, and for good reason. He's not only can put the Superman cape on whenever he needs to, he's also realized, you know what? If I have to put it on every day, it's not going to work. I'm actually going to start to play what is more mundane game management quarterback, get the ball out, and then when I need to put the cape on, I can still do it. And so to me, he's honed the athleticism to be an incredibly efficient passer in the pocket, and then can go be Superman. And so everyone's trying to be like Patrick. And I think Josh Allen is right there, right? And Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has the talent to be the greatest player who ever played.
You think so?
I really believe it. Now he needs, and he's growing. He's like, look at his efficiency. He just needs a commitment from, you said he needs lots of help, right? You need a lot of help to play great quarterback. You need a commitment from the team that really understands the sophisticated passing game that wins Super Bowls today. And I think the Ravens have transitioned a little bit from the most sophisticated running game to more of a sophisticated passing game. And you see Lamar thriving because of it. But I see them still, it's the Harbaugh theory. Like I still want to grind it. I still want to hold on to, Derrick Henry and we're going to ground, I just want him to, and he is flourishing. And I think this is the season that could be where he does it all. And so those 3 guys are, there's a lot more I could choose from. Guys that I relate with, but those 3 guys are the guys that every week you just go, holy crap. The things that they're pulling off, the things that they're doing, the way they're winning football games, it's just amazing to me.
And those folks, some of them not a linear, just like high draft. These are folks that were drafted potentially
University of Wyoming, right? Texas Tech. He sat behind Alex Smith and Lamar.
Louisville.
I think, well, not only that, but Lamar, I think, struggled in the most sophisticated running game in the NFL history for a long time, and wasn't. So again, that transition I've been begging for because I think he is. I mean, when I watch him, when he's just unleashed, it's.
I agree.
If Bill Walsh was alive today, because he saw this, right? He could see the power in a dual threat quarterback. He would be like Lamar Jackson. Holy cow!
I mean, had you ever? And congratulations! I believe you're coaching the flag football team for your daughter. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
High school.
Throughout that actual time, a common transition is into coaching. Is that something that ever crossed your mind?
No, it's just coaching. Coaching is a profession that takes an incredible amount of time. And I was now in this business, I transitioned to business. And so that was what I was going to do. And you can't do both.
I see.
Right. And so, but coaching the girls' flag has been a revelation.
Yeah.
Joel, I want to say this publicly to everybody.
Sure.
Football, at its root, was made for girls. And people are like, what, football?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, at its root is choreography. It's a dance step. It's offensive football is detail. And I was a pro quarterback begging my teammates to get detail oriented and to study and to memorize and to get the choreography, because the more detailed we were, the better girls, I coached them in 3 months. They learned more football than I could coach boys in 3 years.
Is that right?
100%.
You're gonna turn some coordinators out of that program.
They took the game. Once they realized that it's in the detail and the timing and what they were doing, they freaking loved football. And it hit me like a ton of books, like football was made for girls. It is really, they're thriving in it and they love the sport. And it's been so fun coaching them because they're so good at it. Like, for example, I leave this with you.
Sure.
I tried for years to go on different snap counts, 2 and 3, and we'd always jump off sides. Like, I'd call play and go on 2 and be like, whisper to each other. Okay, it's on 2, it's on 2. Then I'd go, and they'd all jump, and you're like, oh! I told the girls, I said, you can go on different snap counts. Like, oh my gosh, let's go on 6. And immediately, like literally in the moment, they're going on 6. Nobody jumps, nobody moves.
Perfect.
I'm telling you, football was made for girls.
What a great story. Thank you for that. And just, I'm telling you, you're going to turn some coordinators out of that program. They're going to graduate out.
Once they understand offensive football, they started writing their own plays. Like, oh, well, wait, if you're trying to put pressure on the safety, well, you should try. Telling you, Joel.
Flea flickers are going to be coming out.
Girls are on this thing.
Amazing. I love that so much. Thank you so much for the time today.
Joel, thanks.
No, really
fun to chat about all this.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a great conversation. This has been The Winning Formula presented by Nasdaq. I am your host, Joel Kalani. We've had the pleasure of speaking with Hall of Famer Steve Young, and we will speak to you very soon.